Hello besties, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're gonna talk about something that affects probably a lot of you, either directly by you suffering with that condition, either knowingly or unknowingly. That means not being diagnosed but suffering the symptoms, or it affects you indirectly, so someone you know of might suffer with that condition and that's how you heard of it. I am talking about endometriosis, something very common in occurrence nowadays, yet quite uncommon when it comes to frequency of diagnosing it. So if you suffer with endometriosis, or you know anyone who struggles with that, or you suffer with the symptoms that in this video, while you will be listening about them, will sound familiar to you, this video is for you, because in this video I'm gonna talk in particular and in great details what endometriosis really is, because lots of people heard about it, yet from my understanding not many people really know what that is and what it comes with. So I'm gonna explain what endometriosis really is, talk about the symptoms it gives you, how it makes you feel. Therefore, it may prompt you going to doctor if you will recognize these symptoms within you. I'm also going to talk about why I'm talking about this topic to start with, as well as what are the cures for that condition. Before we dive in, if you happen to be new here, hi, my name is Alicia and I cover lots of health-related topic videos, starting with my Hashimoto's disease related video, with my hypothyroidism related videos, as well I documented on this channel my TTC, which is trying to conceive journey, as well as my IVF journey. I've been through a couple of rounds of IVF so far, and during that process this is how I came to being diagnosed with what I know now is endometriosis. If any of this sounds interesting to you or familiar and you happen to be new here, please don't forget to subscribe. Also give this video a like button so more people can see that video and benefit from it. And if you are into this type of health related topic and sadly you suffer with any of the conditions that I mentioned on this channel or go through similar journeys, I will link the previous video in the description box so you can benefit from that too. And yeah, having that said, let's begin. So obviously, as I mentioned before, I went through a couple of IVF procedures, all of them unsuccessful. I described that in my IVF video a year ago, and also recent ones that I went through very great details about what IVF process really is and what it looks like. And when it came to so many unsuccessful attempts of IVF, my doctor suggested that we have to dig deeper into finding what the reasons are of failures when it comes to successful embryo implantation. Therefore, he sent me to do MRI tests amongst other tests, during which I've been diagnosed with endometriosis. And as you see, endometriosis is something that lots of women are going through their whole life without being diagnosed. The only reason why they get diagnosed is when they, for example, suffer greatly with symptoms and they go to doctors and they persist a lot to the point that they get diagnosed, or if they, for example, struggle with infertility and as a result they found out that the underlying cause of infertility in their case might be endometriosis related and they discover it. Just because you have a child doesn't mean you don't suffer with endometriosis. You might have a child early in life, and endometriosis is something that can develop over 10 years, 20 years, basically during the period since a woman started her first menstrual cycle to when it's the last, to menopause, all the way to menopause. So it's a long span. So I know cases of women who gave birth when they were 20, yet they suffered with endometriosis later on in life, to the point that they had very severe complications and needed complicated surgeries later on in life because they let endometriosis develop, being undiagnosed. And then obviously the later it's adhered to, the harder it is to treat, and also it causes lots of other problems along the way. So hopefully this video getting to lots of people out there will help lots of you ladies to avoid that and avoid my path and avoid where I am, and hopefully it will help you get the help you need without maybe you even knowing that you need that help. So what is endometriosis? What really that condition is? Endometriosis is a very painful condition in which tissue lining similar to uterus lining grows outside of uterus, and it may grow around the organs in the pelvic area, and in some rare cases can even affect places outside of the pelvic area. So this is a tissue lining similar to what you have in uterus, grows outside of uterus. The problem is that that tissue is the same tissue that grows inside uterus, therefore it behaves the same. So what does that mean? It means that that tissue reacts to hormonal changes that occurs during your menstrual cycle, which means swells up, plumps up, and therefore then bleeds, just like your uterine lining behaves during the phases of menstrual cycle. The problem occurs is that it also bleeds outside of uterus and has nowhere to go. Obviously the uterine lining that leaves your body during menstrual cycle just leaves your body, and that is it. The problem occurs when the same reaction happens to the lining that is outside of uterus. It behaves the same, it bleeds, but it doesn't leave your body, therefore it causes inflammation. And usually endometriosis grows and covers quite big area in your body, therefore the inflammation that you feel is quite severe. It results in an array of symptoms that permanent inflammation causes, such as constant tiredness and fatigue, joint pain, infertility, and other symptoms that I will talk in details in a second. So that's basically what endometriosis is. Worst case scenario, it can even affect your bowels and other organs, as I said. So the best is to find about it soon. The reason why it's being not so commonly diagnosed, although this being a common condition, is because unfortunately women in lots of cultures are taught to suck it up and just function. I'm talking about pain, I'm talking about tiredness, I'm talking about fatigue, I'm talking about excessive pain, cramping and bleeding associated with menstruation. How many times lots of you have heard like, oh, it's just not a big deal, it's just period cramps, just get along with that, just suffer. So in general, women are trained to get along with suffering and just suck it up and don't complain and still show up in life despite feeling horrible, despite feeling tired, despite knowing that something is wrong, but life is happening and women have so much on their shoulder nowadays. There is so much associated with being a woman in the current society that there is just no time for, hitting on yourself or trying to find out what the issue is. And women just say, oh, okay, it's just like a painful period, whatever, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal because every condition of this sort, unattended to, will only get worse. And with the years, it will grow. It may even result in cancer down the line. I'm not saying it's gonna happen to everyone who has endometriosis, but it may happen. So oftentimes this is constantly overlooked condition, undiagnosed, due to the fact that women just don't go to doctor to find what's wrong with them when they suffer symptoms associated with endometriosis. Why? Because, as I said, one is cultural issues and sociological expectations towards women. Two, lots of them only finds out when endometriosis results in infertility, so this is the moment they find out, like me. However, I also fall into the first category. And number three, reason why this is omitted or undiagnosed, I also fall into this category, that those women might also suffer other conditions, such as autoimmune conditions, because usually endometriosis also happens when immune system is weakened. Therefore, it's not capable of fighting those cells growing outside of your body to just shut it down. So this is also a form of malfunctioning immune system. So women who already suffer with autoimmune conditions, they already suffer symptoms, like me. They already suffer symptoms associated with endometriosis as well, such as being fatigued, having joint pain and tiredness, and in general, these type of things. So when you feel this way, it doesn't alarm you enough to go and look for the problem, because you will just write it off and say, oh, it's because I have Hashimoto, like in my case, or just because I have hypothyroidism. So it never occurred to me to look for other reasons. Also, it may happen that you'll go to a doctor and you will tell him about your symptoms, him or her, about your symptoms, and doctor, knowing that you suffer with one autoimmune condition, may just blame it on that too. So you will not look for other things. Meanwhile, endometriosis will be growing untreated for another years. And as I said, women who already have children in the young age and they also develop endometriosis, they don't look for endometriosis because they think, oh, I don't have infertility, I already have a child, so it's not my problem. Meanwhile, endometriosis can also develop after you had a child in young age and all the way until menopause. However, the probability of having endometriosis is higher with a woman who never gave birth. So now I did a note to talk about symptoms in great details, not to omit any. So I just want to tell you about what to look for if you suspect that you might suffer with endometriosis, and then how to look for help, and also what is the solution and what may help you. So symptoms are, apart from what I already listed, tiredness, fatigue, and joint pain related to constant ongoing inflammation in the body. And more known popular symptoms are very painful period, cramps, and excessive bleeding. So I suffered with very painful periods all my life, to the point that when I was younger I was even fainting or vomiting, and bleeding was excessive, but I never was making much out of it. I was just like, this is a part of being a woman. This is a part of how it is. This is how the periods looks like. You just have to suffer, suck it up, and just wait for this to be over, while you are just eating painkillers like there's no tomorrow, just to survive and be able to show up in your daily life. That's something to look out for. This shouldn't be that painful. Obviously there are gonna be cramps, but not debilitating cramps, when you cannot get out of bed, when you can't function without eating a handful of painkillers. This is not normal. And I don't know if there are enough women in your life to tell you that this is not normal. Also, another thing before I go to other symptoms is that lots of women, unfortunately, are a little bit unintentionally guilty of younger generation not being diagnosed, because other women are telling, oh, it's not a big deal, it's like just a period, I also had a painful period, and all blah blah blah. Instead of just saying, just go to the doctor and check it, this is not normal, it shouldn't be that bad, you shouldn't suffer this much, and all type of things. So when you hear about your sister, friend, I don't know, someone in your family or anyone you know complains about this type of things, just push her to go to doctor and have that diagnosed, because suffering is not normal. Suffering and excessive pain is our body telling us that we need to seek help or it will shut down on us. So back to the symptoms. Tiredness, fatigue, joint pain, painful periods, pain during intercourse. This is because there are these growth around or outside cervix, and therefore when there's an intercourse, it causes pain. Pain can also be associated with all sorts of bowel movements, therefore it often is mistaken with IBS. So because you think that this, what is happening, it's related to your bowels, but it is related to the tissue growing in that area, in that pelvic area, possibly around the bowels as well. So yeah, excessive bleeding, as I already said, infertility. Why endometriosis causes infertility is because tissue is growing in that area that it shouldn't, therefore it obstructs implantation of an embryo. And other symptoms that are not known, but I'm pretty sure lots of women suffer with, and they are not so spoken because people openly don't like to talk about this type of things, are digestive issues, although they are not digestive, but digestive related or bowel related issues during your period, meaning diarrhea or constipation when you have a period. So I heard of lots of people having that issue, and I have that issue myself, and I thought this is normal, something that just happens with the period, but this is not normal either. And also nausea, as I mentioned, and yeah, that happens during menstrual cycle, during bleeding, and it simply shouldn't. So that can be also mistaken with IBS, it can be mistaken with some digestive issues. Those symptoms can be, and the condition itself for many years can just disguise as something completely different and misleading you, letting you believe that, oh, you just have a stomach pain. Also, speaking of stomach, very important to notice, endometriosis also is a reason, or like causes commonly occurring bloating. Lots of bloating, also known as endobelly. So you can Google that and have pictures of how it looks like. Endobelly is just like you are slim in general, but you have constant this type of shape of bloated stomach, and the reason why it happens is again inflammation, and that is more prevalent in certain phases of a cycle, such as around ovulation or coming up all to menstruation. So if you are slim in general, this is harder to notice if you are on a bigger size, but if you are slim and you have this sticking out stomach, despite eating healthy and clean and exercising, and nothing you can do can get rid of it, and it keeps coming and going on repeat, that may also be a sign to look towards diagnosing endometriosis. So hopefully that gives you enough information to know what to look for. Observe yourself and just think if you have any of those symptoms, and maybe there is time to put end to suffering and look for a diagnosis. So how you can be diagnosed: just go to your GP, ask for referral to gynecologist. Gynecologist will run tests such as blood test, ultrasound, as well as MRI, because those changes that excessive tissue growth outside of uterus shows cannot all be seen by just transvaginal ultrasound. Therefore, you have to have MRI. Also, MRI will not show all the places where it happens, because some of them are not showing, like some of them, like MRI reads better what's 3D, and some of them are like 2D, which means it's like a stain on the window. So some of them doctor may see only after he will look inside through laparoscopy and hysteroscopy. So now, having discussed what the condition is and the symptoms, what to look for, what is the cure, like what to do. So obviously, sucks to use the word obviously, that in this day and age it's so obvious that there are so many conditions that there is no cure for. What sucks even more is the fact that there are lots of conditions revolving around women. Looks like the science in general is focusing more on what benefits men than women, and that also comes down to health-related issues, because that's been neglected and omitted for so long. So there's no cure for conditions like that, just like Hashimoto's disease, just like hypothyroidism. You cannot just cure it. You can take medications that will make you feel better. When it comes to thyroid-related conditions, not Hashimoto, this you can't cure. This is just permanent inflammation of thyroid that I explained in the thyroid and Hashimoto related video. But you can't cure it, but you can get rid of it by surgery. Surgery gets rid of that tissue that grows when it shouldn't, but it doesn't solve the root cause of condition, meaning that it may come back in a few years again, it may regrow. So it doesn't fix the problem forever. It fixes problem temporary, and it benefits women who suffer infertility due to endometriosis. So the surgery will remove endometriosis, and therefore the women have bigger chances to fall pregnant after that. So the surgery that gets rid of endometrial tissue is done through laparoscopy, which means that the surgeon will make a small incision in which he will get a tool through which he can view the area, and also other incisions to insert the tools to remove endometrial tissue. So this is what is coming up for me very soon. This is the surgery that I'm gonna have in an upcoming days. So yeah, I hope you will send a good thoughts for me, and you'll keep your fingers crossed for me. And yeah, anyway, after I have it done, I will share with you how it feels and what it was like. I know that the recovery takes a while. In total, it's 5 incisions, because one is for viewing purposes and the other 4 are for removing purposes. So yeah, it's gonna be 5 incisions, and recovery process will last for around a week. But I talked to some people who feel so much better after surgery. I mean, some of them, there are some horror stories, but I'm not gonna mention here. But some of them benefited greatly from that, so hopefully that will help me. Also, very important, if you suffer with endometriosis as well, or know anything about it that haven't been mentioned in this video, please share in the comments down below and share your story, share what helped you. If you had a surgery, let me know how it felt, so both me and other people in the comments can benefit from that, and we can make use out of this community that I was very luckily be able to build in here. So please leave your comments down below. I hope that this video will help at least some of you. If you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that yet, so we can hang out more often together and I can make more insightful videos for you on various of topics, because as you see on this channel, we discuss good things, bad things, which means life in general. I hope you find it helpful. If you found any of the symptoms relating to you, please don't wait till it gets worse and just go to doctor, seek medical advice, seek medical diagnosis, and get better. I wish all of you health and good well-being so that you can all focus on realizing and achieving your goals other than fighting health issues. That's what I wish to me, and that's what I wish to every single one of you watching. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you very, very soon in the next one. Bye.